Today we're going to be going over how to design and submit your custom covers. Custom covers are due February 1st. You will need to submit your cover before you submit your pages. And custom covers are due February 1st, and you want to make sure you get them in before then or by then to avoid any late fees. Let's go ahead and jump right in and start designing. We're going to go to the drop-down menu here under Design, and we're going to click on Outside Cover. And depending on what kind of cover you have, whether it's a hard cover or a soft cover, yours might look a little bit different. This particular demo book is a hardcover book, so it's going to have this yellow area around, which is the wrap of the cover. And the wrap is, if you ever look at a hardcover book and you look inside the cover, you will see like a little bit of the top of the borders of the inside cover with a little wrap around it. That is what this is for, allowing for here. This big box around in the white, the box, I know it's hard to see, but it's a green box. That is your safety margins. Anything inside of this is safe to be printed. We suggest not to have anything outside of it for the fear of being trimmed or being inside the inside cover, wrapped around the inside cover. The green line of right over here, these two green lines, this is your crimp, this is your fold. When you open up that hardcover book, it has that little fold. That is what this is right here. That's what that's indicating. So if you don't want any kind of important information, like any kind of wording on this to be folded, then you want to avoid this area right here. The hot pink lines over here indicate your spine. So if you want to include any text on your spine, like your year or the name of the school, you can go ahead and put a text box, and I'll show you how to do that, and it will have to fit between these two lines. All right, let's go ahead and go to the our art palette, and we're going to go to custom covers, and all of our covers are under the library under each different theme. You can go ahead and choose any one of them. Let's go ahead and use our chalkboard theme. And it's just a matter of clicking and dragging it over like so. And now we can go ahead and customize it. And that's why, even though we're using one of our pre-designed themes, this is considered a custom cover because you are still customizing it. So before we start customizing this, I just want to show you anything with a little color wheel like this will mean that it's colorable. And that will apply to any of our color elements, any of our design elements that you see throughout. You will see here you have the, it comes on in black, but you can go ahead and make changes to it with the color wheel right here. And of course, you can also modify it with our saturation and value scales right there. And then you can even save your project colors by going here under Project Save Colors and click the little plus sign. And what that will do is it will save that color for you to use throughout your book. All right, let's go ahead and use this one for our design purposes right there. We're going to go ahead and dock this little menu right here so it's not in our way. All right, now we can go ahead and start inserting a text box to put in any information. We're going to go ahead and click on T for text, and we're going to add a headline. And that added our headline right there. Let's go ahead and close that out. And we're going to go ahead and move it to wherever we need it. And we can double click to start typing in it. Let's go ahead and put our year here, like so. And we're going to add another headline. Oh, we already have one here. I must have clicked it twice. And we're going to go ahead and move this here to place the name of our school. If we go to the T for text and we go to the font, we can change the font style. Let's go ahead and do light. And if we go to the little wizard wand, we can change the color. Let's go ahead and make it white. And we're going to name it our school, like so. Okay, now if we select it, and we go over here back to our T for text. We can play around with the sizing. You can make it larger. Let's say, I'm going to make it a really, really big. And because I want to show you this problem that comes up right here. So right now, when we click on this, we'll see that we have a warning. If we click on that warning, it will let us know that not everything in the text box is visible. So at this point, you know to either resize your text box, like so, or you can play around again with the sizing of your font. You can nudge it little bits at a time like I'm doing with a little minus, or you can always highlight it and then type in the font size that you want. All right, there we go. All right, now if we wanted to insert anything in our spine and any text on our spine, we can go ahead and click another headline text. We can actually, let's go ahead and do a body copy text, because that one is going to, oh, did I click that? Let me do it again. There we go. That one is going to be a bit smaller, and that way we can have something small to begin with. Let's go ahead and change the color of it so we can see it. And we're going to go ahead and rotate it. And you can rotate it a couple of different ways. You can hover over the corner and drag, click and drag and turn it like so. Or you can go to over here to the little I for info, and you can flip and rotate it. You can nudge it little bits at a time like this, or you can go ahead and click, okay, I want it 90 degrees, and click enter. And then of course you can go ahead and move it to in between those two lines so it can be centered in the spine. I do want to tell you that if you go ahead and select it, you can move it with your cursor by clicking and dragging it over. You can also use your keyboard to nudge it little bits. That way you have the perfect placement of it. I know sometimes it's hard to move around when you have to place it exactly where you want it if you're just using your mouse. So if you use your arrows on your keyboard, that can help as well. Okay, and there we are. So then, of course, then you can go ahead and put whatever you want here. Our school rocks. Sure, like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and save this. This is our save button if you don't already know that. All right, so that's in a nutshell how you would design a cover using one of our backgrounds. Now let's say you have an art contest. A lot of schools design have an art contest in their school, and they want to include that art in their cover. And what you will need to do is, let's go ahead and get rid of this. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just clicking here and deleting. What you're going to want to do is you're going to scan that student art at 300 dpi. You're going to scan it as a JPEG and upload it into your Candids just like you would a regular picture. So once you have it uploaded, I always recommend to upload it into your Candids, make a folder called cover. That way you can find it easily, and then you can place it, upload it into there. Let's go ahead and insert a photo box, and that's how we're going to insert the cover here. We're going to go here to our art palette, and we're going to go to photo boxes. And we're going to go ahead and use the square. This is the back cover. Of course, if you, let's go ahead and get rid of this. If you move it over here, this will be your front cover. Let's go ahead and size it more or less to what we want to cover. Like that. Okay, and I'm not going over those lines. If I do move this text box or this photo box to outside of our safety margin, we will get a warning like this, and it will let us know that it's too close to the edge and it might be trimmed off. Now this will stay this warning will stay as long as you have this box outside of the cover. It will print that way, so keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and put it in, and it will go away. It will disappear, the warning, when you move it into a safety zone. Okay, so now that we have our photo box, we can go ahead and insert our picture. We're going to go here to our photos. We're going to go to Candids. And I created a folder already called Covers. Let's go ahead and go there. And let's go ahead and use this one right here. We're going to just click and drag it and put it in, just like I said, just like you would any photo, any image. And if you can see, when we scanned it, there's some white there, so we're going to go ahead and crop that. And in order to do that, we're going to click here on our edit and crop button, and we can zoom in and out with this little slider right here, or you can go ahead and select the box here and then click and drag it. If we click towards the middle, we are actually selecting the photo box shape, like so. If we click on the actual image, we are selecting the image itself, and this is where you can zoom in and out, like so, okay? Let's go ahead and trim this down, like that. And then we're going to click outside of it to deselect it and be able to move it around. And let's go ahead and edit and crop again so we can have more of this orange included in there. There we go. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're giving your students instructions on how to draw is to make sure to let them know that they don't necessarily want to bleed anything to the edge just because you don't want to have it cut off. Let's say the Silver Lakes Elementary was written close to the edge here, and you wanted to bleed your the full photo into the cover, the front cover. Then if we were to do that, see how it's cutting off the feet right there? You want to avoid something like that. So you want to make sure you instruct your students to give themselves about 1/4 of an inch margin, so they don't to give them that space so it doesn't get trimmed off in the printing process. Let's go ahead and crop this again so we don't have it here in the margins. Or not in the margins, in the spine, right there, like that. Okay, and now if we wanted to, since this is going to come out white, and so is the back cover, if we wanted to insert a background, we can go ahead and do that. If you wanted to do runners up, you can insert more photo boxes back here and insert the runners up. You can, of course, add text and include the student name. If they didn't have the name of the school and the year, you can also include that on a text box. Let's go ahead and insert a cover just so we can have a more finished look to this. Or a background, I mean. Let's do abstract. And we're just going to choose something random. Actually, let's not go here. Let's go to Bright Basics. Let's see what we have there. Okay. Let's go and pick this. Since it's colorable, we can make it yellow or orange. Let's try yellow and see what that looks like. Oh, there, it looks like a sun. That's pretty cool. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to go ahead and save. Okay. All right. So there we go. Now we have our cover ready to go. Now to submit it, we're going to go ahead and go to the ladder. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it's approved. So we're going to go ahead and select it, and we're going to give it the thumbs up to approve it. And only the admin can approve and submit the covers. So keep that in mind. If you're just a user, you're going to have to send it over to your admin to approve and submit. Okay, so now that it is approved, we can go ahead and make sure that we don't have anything clicked. And we're going to go to the little book right here. And it's when you hover over it, it will tell you submit your project. And this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to submit our cover right here. And this is down here how you submit your pages. Of course, your pages are not going to be allowed to be submitted until your cover is done. So by default, your cover will always come first to be submitted. So we're going to click on Submit Cover. And it's going to give us, ask us several questions in the submit process. One of them being is your page count. And you can go ahead and estimate. You can go ahead and change it at some point. Change it if you think you're going to have more pages later on. Keep in mind that there is a limit to depending on what kind of cover you have. So it might get to a point that you won't be able to increase your amount of pages, but this is when we're talking about going from a very high number of pages, from a low number of pages to a very high. You do a big jump. If you're doing maybe 4 or 8 pages, it's usually not that big of a deal. It won't affect your cover at all, since it is going to be printed first. Let's go ahead and keep it at 96. That's where our original page count is. This is going to give us our dimensions of our book. We're going to go ahead and scroll over to the cover lamination. And by default, it's going to be gloss. And it's, if you want linen or matte smooth, then it's an additional cost to it. So I'm sure by that point, if you are going to the submit process, I'm sure you have talked to us about the cost of changing your laminate for your cover. So at that point, then you would go ahead and select something else if that's what you wanted. Then we're going to go to end sheets. If you have end sheets, hardcover books will automatically have end sheets. If you want colored end sheets, again, that's an additional cost. And this is where you would pick the color. And you can contact us for the cost of any of these things that are additional. If this is a personalized cover, you would have the options to click what kind of personalization you want. This particular one is not, so we're going to go ahead and leave it here on none. Then if you have any special instructions, you would go ahead and type it here. And this is to waive the proof, because you should have already proofed your cover. And then this is the low resolution approval. If you want to be contacted, if your image on your cover is a low resolution image, then you might want to, then you click on yes. If you do not want to be contacted, if you want to go ahead and approve it, even though it's a low resolution, you would click on yes. If you want to be contacted, then you would click no. Contact me if the images are low res. Anything 200 dpi will be considered low resolution. Ideally, you want anything for printing purposes, you want it 300 dpi. The next step will be the final cover submission right down here. And you're going to read about copyright information. And then when you're ready to go, you're going to click on I and then your name, agree and accept the terms. And then we're going to click on submit cover. All right. And that's pretty much it. Now, once it's done, it will let you know that it's done. Let's go ahead and cancel out of this. And I will show you what message you will receive. We're going to go to our help menu, and you can use this throughout. You're going to click here on the question mark for help, and we're going to go to Pictavo help. And let's do a search. You can do search here for whatever you need help with. Let's do how to submit cover. And here we have approving and submitting your cover. If you scroll down, you will see step-by-step instructions on how to do that. And this is the message you will receive once it's done. It will have a green box around it, and it will let you know that your cover has been submitted with a little check mark. And that's pretty much it, you guys. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, so we don't have any questions. So if you need any help along the way, please keep in mind that we have this help menu. You can always contact us or contact our tech support team at 800-887-0414. Have a great day.